The Root of All Evil, Frederick Devereux. Excerpt from a play written by Tasmin Jahan. Frederick Devereux is the ruthless autocrat controlling the huge Devereux business empire. His perpetual cruelty knows no bounds, and family members are certainly no exception. Today, there is a celebration of tears, sorrow, joy, and relief. Scene 25. 1970s England. Sophie, Frederick's sister, is in a luxurious hotel room. She's holding up a glass of wine, celebrating with a female companion.
Here's a toast to the best outcome ever. May we prosper and live wonderful lives. Finally, we can embrace the truth and be thankful the authorities have no clue who did it.
Here, here. We certainly did well, didn't we? Thank you for leaving the back door unlocked. I mean, just thinking about it feels truly amazing. You guided him in, quietly left the room and manned the door. Frederick's face was a picture, as he couldn't believe that I was standing in front of him after all these years. He was speechless. And I had such an adrenaline rush when I was stabbing him to death, but my eyes saw no blood. I could only see his evil face. And once he fell to the ground, this huge cast iron burden lifted off. My heart was palpitating madly, but I could still hear some voices outside the door. I heard your voice as well.
Yes, Benjamin and Penelope suddenly appeared in the hallway. On seeing them, I became quite nervous. Benjamin was eager to address his father about an urgent matter, and Penelope was upset about Frederick's nasty letter to her ex-husband. She kept mentioning the red ribbon too. Little do they know that their father was paying the ultimate price for the immeasurable cruelty and oppression he had inflicted on his family.
At least I removed that red ribbon in time for me to leave the room without a second thought. I know I didn't close the back door properly, but I couldn't risk returning to the scene of
Don't say it. Lonnie, you have succeeded. I am truly impressed. You are definitely more courageous than I am. If this objective had been placed on my shoulders, I'm certain I would have faltered.
Well, two heads are always better than one, and our plan was triumphant. I couldn't have done it without your continuous support. Now the deep-rooted suffering is over. For the first time, I'll get to see and talk and spend time with my precious children.
Did you tell Vanessa about our worthy scheme?
I informed Vanessa that very soon she will be meeting with the rest of her family. She was very excited to hear this, as she's only ever seen pictures of Thomas, Nancy, and Penelope.
I'm looking forward to it as well. It's going to be a tremendous day. Thomas, Nancy, Penelope, and Vanessa, you and I, all together at one table, sitting, laughing, enjoying each other's company. It's an absolute miracle.
I did do the right thing by never telling Frederick about Vanessa, didn't I?
Indeed, you did. Good job you kept that a secret. If he didn't care about you then, why would he shown any concern for his youngest unborn child?
That vicious monster completely destroyed me, both physically and mentally.
You mean almost. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Your dreary funeral, the unrecognizable dead body, your tasteless obituary and fictitious wake. all meticulously carried out and very convincing. That day I had just returned from Bridgenorth. There was such a morose atmosphere as I walked into the mansion. I saw young Nancy and Penelope crying their eyes out. Thomas had a blank look on his face. He just didn't speak to anyone. Brooke approached me. She was very upset. She told me the awful news. I was in shock. Apparently, you had taken an overdose and slipped down the staircase. After hearing this, I walked straight into Frederick's study. He was on the telephone at the time. He had his back to me. I distinctly recall him saying, "Don't worry, we can make this work." It must have been about you. The moment he spotted me, he hung up, changed his facial expression, and addressed me very sadly. He pretended to break down in tears. Naturally, at the time, I was sympathetic. To think I held Frederick in my arms to console him when the whole appalling masquerade was his doing.
He told me to leave Fezeria Aston very quietly and to never come back. I tried to stand up for myself. My only fault was that I had told him how lonely that I had felt and how a recent friendship with a male acquaintance had helped me get through my solitude and depression. But alas, all of a sudden, there was a stupid and hurtful rumor going round.
Yes, I remember that too. Something about you and Michael Bishop being a clean and happy couple.
Michael used to bring boxes of files to the mansion after work, and that day when Frederick had told him to wait in his study for him as he had other business to attend to, Michael and I had a chance to talk. It was wonderful. He was the complete opposite of Frederick. He was a kind and sensitive soul. He could see my pain and suffering just by looking at me. He was a shoulder to cry on and someone to share my feelings with. That's all. He took away my loneliness. And he always appreciated how hard it was for me to raise 3 young children, especially without a proper father figure. I mean, Frederick was always too busy with his business empire to even notice us. He saw his family as more of a hindrance than anything else.
And one day, as that rumor got out of hand, I remember bumping into one of Frederick's crude associates in the main hall. He had arrived to express his utter disapproval about what was going on between you and Michael. That associate was in there for hours with Frederick. Apparently, the rumors were affecting his reputation and business relations with the Devereux establishment. Once this associate had left, Frederick's anger was uncontrollable.
Unfortunately, the very next day, I remember Michael being accused of stealing company property and then being fired. Frederick was extremely rude to him and didn't even pay his salary for the last month he worked at the factory.
Wasn't he framed?
Yes, sadly. He was framed by Penchard, Frederick's faithful slave. Michael became terribly depressed after that. He decided not to talk about it. He left without saying a word. I never saw him again.
With that fury, Frederick summoned me after he fired Michael. I had the displeasure of listening to him going on and on and on about it. I knew he was in the wrong, but I stayed quiet. I tried to defend you, but he wouldn't have it.
He's so furious that he decided to totally ruin my life. 26 years of it, to be exact. The day I left that mansion, without my children was the day I died inside. I became absolutely numb. I never had the power to do anything because Frederick didn't even give me a chance to explain. He rudely confronted me and yelled so loudly that it almost felt like my ears were bleeding. He was so abusive and the swearing was intolerable. I was ordered to leave the mansion immediately because his uncontrollable rage was more important than my needs. And as I wept, I went to pack some of my belongings, but he followed me and dragged me out of the bedroom and disgracefully pushed me out. And before slamming the door in my face, he threw me a £5 banknote. His last words were, £5 should be adequate for a whore like you. He didn't even allow me to see my children one last time. He said, a whore has no children, only the road in front of her.
The staff were informed that you had been admitted into hospital with severe injuries sustained after taking an overdose and falling down the stairs. He accused you of having some sort of inexplicable depression and proving to be an unfit mother. He described you as abusive and frosty towards the children, and as a wife, a regrettable mistake. He stressed to them how unhappy he was to have had the ill fortune of meeting you. He mimicked a heartbroken and lonely husband. Some of the staff were quite unsure about the entire story, but given Frederick's temperament, they accepted all that he said and carried on with their duties as normal. He didn't want to lose their jobs. At that time, my main concern was for the children, especially Thomas. As days went by, he only sat with one of the maids, usually in total silence.
My parents were shocked to see me in this desperate state. And that week, whilst I stayed with my parents, a long, stern, anonymous letter arrived. It was a heavily descriptive explanation of how my life would be dictated for the rest of my years, and how I would never be allowed to alter any aspect of it. There were numerous threats. I was deeply disturbed by his poisonous language and the repetition of, you will perish a ghastly death if you in any way disagree. My eyes simply filled with floods of tears.
By sending that letter, he was actually putting the final touches to your fake funeral.
The letter went on to say that he would be doing me an immense favor by rubbing my face out of society. My parents were in utter disbelief.
Thomas has never recovered from the loss. Misses you every minute of every day. He still speaks to you at the cemetery, chats to you about many things, and when he usually feels isolated, he begins to drink until he cannot drink anymore.
My poor baby. How I miss him so. All those beautiful memories we simply lost because of one vile, monstrous human being.
My unsettled mind could not believe that you were dead. Just knew my suspicions were true. It was too mechanical, you know? So I decided to investigate. As I persevered, one of the locals was able to point me in the right direction.
Yes, I had left my parents' place because I was concerned about their safety. And the long and tedious hours at the paper mill were wearing me out. especially since I was pregnant with Vanessa. I was so happy and relieved when you came to visit me.
When I told your parents that you were just about coping, they were distressed, but also relieved to know that you were still alive.
And with your kind help and absolute support, I plucked up the courage to confront Frederick about what he'd done to me. But I was too late because he had already announced his second marriage to Veronica.
According to Frederick, Veronica was chosen to fill a gap. He began to crack under pressure. He said he desperately required a nanny for the children. After briefly meeting Veronica at one of our cousins' wedding, he had a few words with her family and struck a deal. He promised to write them checks as appropriate to support Veronica's family while she looked after his children. He had proposed a quiet wedding ceremony. Only immediate family were invited. I refused to attend, but Frederick forced me. I absolutely hated Veronica from day one, and I still do.
He married so quickly. I cried so much for my poor children. What were they thinking? I mean, how much were they hurting? I could only imagine.
Lonnie, you mustn't forget, you have 4 beautiful children out of this relationship. They were always yours. You didn't watch them grow up, but I did. So many things they did and said that reminded me of you. And also the pain and longing they endured made me cry too. But I never showed those tears to anyone.
You're right. And those pictures you had sent a while back reminded me that I was never alone. Those pictures gave me so much strength. I cannot believe how quickly Thomas grew up. Penelope still has her baby face. Nancy looks too much like her father. I have missed out on so much. And when I will see them again, I'm going to just cry more floods of tears. But this time they will be tears of joy. There will be no words to make up for the past 26 years.
Now, let us put all of these stories of misery and struggle behind us and look forward to the new.
Absolutely.
There is a knock at the door. Sophie jumps.
He's early.
I'm so delighted that there will be more than one family reunion now. It's time to tell Peter that he is no longer the under butler at the mansion, but your son.
I'm so nervous all of a sudden. I can feel my heart fluttering.
No, be calm. Go and open the door. Don't keep the poor boy waiting. You no longer have to watch him from a distance because of Frederick Devereux. And as you cry your tears of joy, gently hold him like any mother would and start to make up for all those lost years. I'm so sorry that Frederick strongly disapproved of his father's lower status and for that reason kept you all apart.
Thank you, Lonnie, for being my only pillar of support. I'm eternally grateful to you, even though my Christopher was wickedly taken away from me before Peter's birth. I am now honored to fulfill my duty as a loving mother to Peter, and with profound solace, I leave behind Sophie Devereux, from that mansion. Infanzori asked.
Lonnie looks on with a smile as Sophie nervously exits. Scene 26, denouement. Outside the hotel, Lonnie descends to the fountain gardens of the hotel and sits down on a bench. She calmly gazes into the sky, then looks around her. She takes a deep breath, shakes her head a little, wipes away a tear, and begins to think deeply.
My prison sentence is over at last. I have found myself once more. Committing suicide would have definitely been the wrong thing to do. I'm so glad I never shared that with Sophie. And my children would have no doubt cursed me. But I am a proud murderer. I am thoroughly delighted. I have no regrets. Now I stand victorious. But wait, I see the blood now. I have blood on my hands. My stained hands have released me. But will the blood ever go? All these years I've been enduring so much frustration and hatred. And now that frustration and hatred have disappeared, but what if my children hate me? Will they question my courage, my beliefs? And above all, will they interrogate me too much about their childhood and what happened after I left? I do not wish to build my future with remnants of the past. I know for certain that Thomas will hate me the most. I fear his judgment. I fear his tone. How would I ever be able to even address him? I realize Sophie has cautioned me not to reveal our secret, but what if they find out? No, what am I thinking? It's not possible. Nobody saw me. The disguise was too complicated. The weapon was hidden, and then I wiped it clean and I threw it in the river. So there is nothing further to worry about. There will be no stormy comeback because Sophie and I planned our day of freedom very well. For the first time, I can hear the birds singing. I can feel the clear breeze. I can enjoy the sunshine. Now I can look forward to being a part of everyday life. What about this guilt that I feel? Why is it there? I did what any woman would have done in my shoes. Frederick made my life an absolute hell. I have a right to my freedom. I refuse to see myself as a murderer. I had no choice but to kill him. But it is a blood-stained freedom. Surely I deserve better. Surely I deserve to be free. What have I done? When I meet my children for the first time, it will be in the guise of a murderer. I have indeed committed a crime. But wait a minute. He was the one to blame. He made me do it. Please be kind to me, Thomas, Nancy, Penelope, and Vanessa. Once you find the truth, because I don't want to lose you all again. I've been blessed with 4 beautiful children. I must focus on that. Now I have a real opportunity to make amends. But with my blood-stained hands, it's Frederick's blood, a tyrant's blood. The father of my children's blood. My husband's blood. Such blackened hands, cruel hands. Poor Veronica. She must be devastated. I wonder if she will ever miss him. Maybe Sophie should have stabbed Frederick. I'm sure Sophie wouldn't have felt so much guilt afterwards.
Suddenly a shadow grows from behind. The mysterious figure taps her on the shoulder. Ronnie rises. It's Veronica.
It was you, wasn't it?
Veronica, how did you know I was here?
I followed you after Frederick had humiliated me in front of his wealthy friends. I chose to hide away in that cove area adjoining his study, as I knew Frederick would be too busy with all of his guests to come looking for me anyway. I was very quiet and still whilst I heard you and Sophie come in. Once the commotion had started, my hair was standing on end, and I had shivers down my spine. At one point, I thought I couldn't breathe. You removed that red ribbon from under the door once you'd finished. That was your signal. I just felt so numb. But I still plucked up the courage to follow you. Your choice of footwear hasn't changed because I was made to wear your worn shoes after we got married. And you are wearing the same wedding ring as mine, but on a different finger.
I am truly sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you for making me a widow. You have killed the root of all evil. May God bless you.
With tears in their eyes, they give each other a warm hug.
Well done.
Bravo.
Great, great,
Oh.
Susan, great.
One Wish Each, a comedy by Rex McGregor. Setting, a public library. Scholar is sitting at a table doing research. His old-fashioned suit is worn to shreds.
you are, sir.
Donkey chain.
It's reference only. You can't like borrow it.
You flatter me, Fraulein.
Sorry?
To become a book borrower, one must have a library card. Eligibility for this glorious privilege is limited to those of a fixed abode. But thank you for the thought.
I just said what we like say to everyone.
Regardless of domicile status, how subversive. The institution snubs the homeless, but the workers support us.
Yeah, well, have a nice day.
And you, comrade?
Courtney moves to the other side of the stage and tries to brush away the smell.
Courtney,
I need a gas mask. Will you have a word with him?
you might leave soon.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
Perhaps you should.
There ought to be a law against assault with a deadly stench.
Now.
When I land on the streets, I hope I have the decency to like hang my clothes out in the rain.
All this.
My student debt. I'll never be able to pay it off.
You'll have a law degree.
That doesn't guarantee employment these days. The profession's like way competitive.
You can always fall back on your shelving job here.
Thanks, Elaine, but that won't even like pay the rent. Bet I end up a bag lady.
Comrade, I asked for Armavich's economics of production. I guess I should have added to be in English, please, or any other major foreign language.
Sorry?
I pride myself on being a polyglot, but I have yet to master Arabic.
Please excuse her, sir. She's still in training.
Hey, the spine's like totally faded. I went by the call number.
Apologies, sir. We're not exactly awash with qualified staff at the moment.
I see the problem.
Normally, we'd shower you with our expertise.
This is 398, not 338.
Must have been like shelved.
It's quite dim in the basement. We protect the books by keeping them bathed in a soft light.
I'll sort it.
There is a picture on the cover under the dust.
Scholar rubs the cover with his sleeve.
398's like fairy tales.
Is that a tree or a scrub?
Ah, my grimy sleeve makes it worse.
But let me.
Courtney rubs the cover.
It's flaking.
Drat.
Inferior capitalist merchandise.
Here, you can't beat an old-fashioned hanky.
Elaine rubs the cover.
It's a boy.
Holding something.
A soap dish?
A lamp.
Aladdin?
Greetings. I'm the genie of the book. Expect you know the drill. 3 wishes, anything you like, fire away.
Where on earth did you come from?
You wish to hear my origin story?
Careful, madam, done to wish the wish.
A load of bull.
You wish for proof.
There's a trap.
It's library policy to take our customers at their word.
I'm waiting.
Let me think. What shall I choose?
May I suggest the cash?
I only obey the one who rubbed the book.
We all rubbed it.
3 of us.
Can we share the prize?
Very well. 1 wish each. Off you go. Come on. Come on.
Like, what's a rush?
As soon as I've granted your desire, I get freedom.
Ah, You are a proletariat victim of the bourgeois exploitation, an oppressed worker.
And all-powerful one in your service.
Be like, pass.
Pass?
Skip the whole wishes thing.
No, please. That would be cruel torture.
What do you mean?
He who fails to complete his assigned task in his life is condemned to roam the earth forever.
A ghost of his former self. His clothes on his back turned to rags, or something according to legend.
Doomed for all eternity.
Oh, we can't have that. You found Courtney. You go first.
I'm delusional.
It's library policy to accept a range of views.
Okay. Like, sky's the limit.
Go for it.
I want to be financially comfortable right now.
Done.
Scholar's clothes suddenly transform into an immaculate tuxedo.
Oh my goodness.
Wrong person, like epic fail.
I did as I was bid. Compressed time, usually using advanced physics. You're viewing the consequences of your wish.
What a kind gesture, Courtney. You rewarded the gentleman who advised you.
Vielen Dank, comrade.
I haven't changed.
Think, if you were rich, would you dress any differently?
Or any less cynical?
Next.
Check your bank balance.
Courtney takes out her phone. Scholar and Elaine huddle around her.
Pardon me.
Don't back away, sir. You smell lovely.
Whoa! Oh.
Courtney proudly displays her bank balance.
Next.
After you, Frau.
You go ahead. I can't make up my mind. Dream house or dream man?
I am far more ambitious. I wish everyone in the world to be debt-free, effective immediately.
Done.
Scholar's suit reverts to its original state. Courtney and Elaine's clothes become tattered.
Damn, das der Vater.
Oh dear.
Next.
Courtney checks her phone.
On.
I did as I was bid. Don't blame me for the resulting global economic collapse.
By my calculations, there should be universal equality.
Correct. Everyone's dirt poor. Production of commodities has ceased. No deodorants, no soap.
Got water.
Thinner on the ground than blood.
No, I wish everything back was 5 minutes ago.
Done.
Courtney and Elaine's clothes return to normal.
Thank heavens.
Okay, all wishes used up. I'm free. I can do anything now. Farewell.
The capitalist system is rotten to the core. I should develop a viable alternative where my name isn't Karl Marx.
Scholar sits down and resumes his research.
Should have sit back to 2 minutes ago when I had like no debt.
Magic is too risky.
Never mind. I had a taste of wealth. Good to know I keep my personal style.
And your attitude.
Oh, actually, that's changed.
How?
I've come to realize money isn't everything.
If this were a fairy tale, there's your moral.
Excuse me, I am finding the world a huge challenge. Can you help me?
Of course, we're librarians.
We don't only lend books, we're like keen to lend advice.
I need a more practical loan. Can you recommend me a friendly bank manager?
Great.
Esther's Sacrifice, written by Stephen Joseph Olson. Interior, courtyard leading to the palace of Azaris, day. Mordecai, male, walks relentlessly back and forth. He's holding a document. He stops to read the document, drops his arm, and begins pacing again. Esther, female, enters the courtyard, pauses as she watches Mordecai pacing. Mordecai turns and sees Esther standing. He stops pacing, his shoulders droop, and he lowers his head slowly, shaking it. Esther slowly approaches Mordecai.
Cousin, what a pleasure it is to see you.
Esther stops a few paces from Mordecai. She pauses and examines Mordecai's stance.
Is it not a pleasure for you?
Mordecai slowly raises his head.
On any other day, nothing would be more of a pleasure to me.
How is this day different from any other day? What has brought you to me this day?
The destruction of everything we know, and everything that we are and will be.
What are these words? What could cause such destruction?
Mordecai holds the document to Esther. Esther takes the document and scans over it.
Is the seal known by you?
Yes, it is the ring of my husband the king.
The ring given to Haman. But its mark is the word of the king, and it seals the fate of all the Jews of Persia, from India to Ethiopia.
How is this possible? Why would the king turn on his subjects?
The sin of prejudice follows the Jewish people wherever they may go. Although in this case, I must take some ownership of such a dreadful course.
How could you have any part in this?
I have drawn disfavor from Haman, as I have refused to bow before him. I state to you now that this was not in insolence or pride or for any love of glory that I refused to bow down to this proud Haman. For I would have been willing to kiss the soles of his feet to save Israel. Haman has sent his place in that of the king, and I cannot accept this. You know all there is to know of me, and so you know that I could not set human glory above the glory of God. My false pride has led to the total annihilation of all our people.
You prevented the assassination of the king. You have his favor. You must plead with him to alter these orders.
I cannot approach the king without his request. There is no time to arrange consent with him. We must act now, and you must take on this task.
I have not been called to his palace. For me to stand in his presence without command would only end in my death.
Of all of those who hold favor with the king, you are the only one who finds favor in the king's eyes. However, if this decree is not altered, even your favors will not save your life. Even a Jew who lives in the palace will not be protected from Haman's hatred.
On your advice, when you first brought me to the palace, I have hidden my heritage. Was not that the reason you gave me, that I would be protected by not revealing myself as a Jew?
It was advice made in sound judgment. But you are my brother's daughter, and I am certain Haman will not fail to discover this fact and use it to destroy everyone I have loved.
You are asking me to present myself before our king without his command, plead for the lives of every Jew, revealing who I truly am, knowing that any of these actions will end in my death. Is this what you are asking?
Mordecai silently nods his head.
So my choice is to die if I do or if I don't.
Mordecai nods his head again.
At least I have the pleasure of choice.
If I could take this from your shoulders, I would. With the limit of time, we have to act. I do not see any other way. I can only hope that your place as the Queen of Persia was destined for a reason, and you have anointed to save our people.
Even if that proves true, it does not guarantee my life.
Esther turns and begins to walk away.
What is your choice?
Esther stops and turns back.
You have raised me to be the person I am. If anyone should know my choice, it should be you.
I will pray for you.
It will take more than that. I will pray and fast for 3 days. Go, gather all the Jews to be found in Susa. Pray and hold a fast on my behalf, and do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. Perhaps our pleadings will be heard. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish.
I will do all I can to let it be known throughout the entire kingdom.
Esther and Mordecai nod to each other, turn in opposite directions, and walk away. Interior Palace Banquet Hall, day. Azaris, male, walks around a long banquet hall table filled with food. He waves his hands over some of the items, but does not touch any of the food. He moves to the head of the table and sits down. Esther enters the hall with her head lowered. When she reaches the end of the table, she bows to her knees. Azaris does not move. Lifting his face, ablaze with glory, he looks at her in fierce anger.
Have I requested an audience with you?
No, my lord, you have not.
When you present yourself against the laws of your king, are you aware of the consequence of your actions?
I am aware that my life is in your hands. This is the price I am willing to pay to make known to you an urgent matter.
What possible matter could you be aware of that would come at such a valuable price?
I have a request that is worth more than my own life.
Then stand before me and make your request, and hope that you have wagered in your favor.
Esther begins to stand, but as she rises, she wavers and slumps to the floor. Azaris rushes from his seat and lifts Esther to his lap.
My queen, what has happened to you?
It is nothing, my king. I have ended a 3-day fast. That is all. I saw you, my lord, and like an angel of God, and my heart was shaken with fear at your glory. For you are wonderful, my lord, and your countenance is full of grace.
What is it, Esther? I am your kin. Take courage. Come near.
Then he raises the golden scepter and touches her neck with it. He embraces her.
Speak to me. What have you fasted for? What do you wish, Esther? What is your request? It shall be yours, even to half of my kingdom.
For courage, my lord.
Courage? Courage for what? What could be so important?
To face you, my lord. My request is this important.
Azaris lifts Esther to her feet. As Esther slowly finds her footing, she clings to Azaris' arm.
Come, sit at my side.
Azaris guides Esther to the chair next to his own. She sits, and Azaris takes his seat.
Break your fast now. Please eat.
This banquet I have prepared for you and your second. I will continue my fast until we are all at the table.
Then I will command Haman here at once.
He stands outside. He awaits your command to enter.
Then I will make it so.
Azaris bounds from his seat and briskly walks to the entrance of the hall. He stands and waves for Haman to enter. Azaris turns and moves back to the table.
He comes now. Then you shall eat.
As you wish, my lord.
Haman, male, enters the hall. He approaches the end of the table and bows.
Take your place and indulge in the fine banquet your queen has prepared especially for you and her king.
Haman casually looks over the table and glances at Esther. He looks over the seats and then pulls out the chair at the opposite end of Viserys' seat.
Such an impressive honor, my lord. Please accept my gratitude, my queen.
Esther nods.
Our queen wishes to make a request, and since she has asked for your presence at this table, I must assume her request involves you.
I am overwhelmed by this gesture. I assure you, my lord, I only wish to devote my life as a servant to you and have never desired any award for my attention to the well-being of king and kingdom.
Your loyalty has always been noticed, but I hardly believe that a banquet for your services would be worth the life of my queen.
I do not understand.
Nor do I. My queen, what is your request?
My lord, my request relates to this decree.
Esther hands the document to Viserys. Viserys reads over the document.
What is it?
It is the decree to rid my empire of the danger of those who reject our ways and refuse to follow the laws of my lands. The decree which you asked for my consent.
I still do not understand. What is the concern? We agreed that the kingdom cannot be allowed to perish from the influences of those who wish evil on our lands.
My queen, please explain why such an important edict that protects all of us concerns you so aggressively.
My lord, this edict seeks to eradicate families of fathers, mothers, and children, all who are innocent, whose only crime is that they are Jewish.
As Haman has counseled me in this matter, the Jews in our lands wish to destroy my empire. They wish to destroy your king.
My queen, you must understand, I only wish to protect what you have. I only wish for you and my king longevity in life and ruling.
Then, my lord, I advise you to please refer to the Book of Royal Chronicles.
Esther lifts a book from the table and hands it to Viserys.
Yes, I have in fact read over this last night as I became restless and could not sleep. I am familiar with these records.
Then you saw the record of Bigthan and Teresh.
Yes, yes, a matter that has been handled as they were hanged for plotting against my life.
And who made you aware of their treacherous plot?
Why, you did, my queen. Do you not remember it? I assure you, it was an action I will always value.
But all I did was relay to you information brought to me by Mordecai.
Which has also been acknowledged, as I have commanded Haman to gift him property, horses, and clothing. He now holds a respected place in my court. Is this not true, Haman?
Yes, my lord. I do not hesitate to carry out your wishes. He has been greatly honored.
So, it is all settled. Those who show loyalty will always be acknowledged, and those who seek to will be eliminated.
As it should be.
Is that why you have constructed a monument for Mordecai inside your property?
A monument? I was not aware you have constructed such an offering. As usual, you go above your duties. Your services are greatly appreciated.
I must apologize, my lord. I have no such monument on my land.
What I have heard, you have erected a 50-cubic pole placed on your plaza, a pole similar to the ones that Bigthan and Teresh now hang from. Who will you adorn from yours?
My queen, I do not know of what you speak.
I have gained the answers from a trusted source that you plan to hang Mordecai from it.
Well, why would Haman have reason to hang someone who saved his king's life?
An appropriate question. The answer is in his edict, my lord.
Viserys reads over the document again.
Mordecai is a Jew?
Yes, my lord. The man instrumental in saving your life is Jewish, and the men who wished you harm, the men set on destroying their king and kingdom, were not Jewish.
One member of an entire population does not change the treachery of an entire group of people plotting against us. There is no certainty that Mordecai does not have ulterior motives.
If someone wished our king harm, he would not have foiled the plot against him. I beseech you, my lord, to review the records of Bigthan and Teresh and discover whose home they served.
My lord, they were of my home, but I assure you I had no knowledge of their treachery. My queen, you could not possibly believe I plot against my king.
I only see who, as in second command, would benefit the most from my king's demise.
No, I beg you not pronounce such a heinous statement.
This is a serious statement, my queen. But still, I do not understand your strong personal concern with the proclamation you've presented. Please make it clear why this is worth your life to gamble.
Because Mordecai is my cousin. The edict you hold is my life in your hands.
As Zerah slowly rises from his seat, he glances at Esther, then walks towards Haman, staring directly at him. He does not stop at Haman, but continues to walk past him and towards the plaza.
My lord, why do you leave us?
Azaris pauses and turns towards Esther.
To see if any new monuments have been erected without my knowledge.
Azaris leaves the hall. Haman turns and watches Azaris leave the hall. He stares for a few minutes after him, then abruptly turns towards Esther. His eyes are wide open. He begins to mumble words, but is incapable of forming anything coherent. Esther chooses a fruit from the table.
While you have the opportunity, you should partake of this banquet. You never know when you may have your last meal.
My queen, I beg you to recant your accusations. I meant you no harm. I beg you to have mercy on me.
Mercy. A strange sound coming from your throat. You wish to destroy an entire future of people who have contributed to this nation. And why? Because you were corrupted by power, and ego, because one man would not bow to you. Those who utter unrighteous things will not escape notice, and justice, when it punishes, will not pass them by.
I only desired respect. I only wanted my name to be remembered for my loyalty to my king.
You will not have to worry about your name being remembered. My people will carve your name in the soles of their shoes and celebrate your name as long as there are people who remember your vanity and treachery.
Haman falls upon Esther, hugging and clinging to her. Esther attempts to pull away from him.
I repent for my actions. I beg for forgiveness.
Release me.
Azaris enters the hall. He rushes towards Haman and grabs his shoulder, dragging Haman to the floor. Mordecai follows behind Azaris and rushes to Esther's side.
This is how you treat your queen in the absence of your king? Will you dare even assault my wife in my own house?
I was begging. I meant no harm.
No matter what you were begging for, you have earned your place on the pole you have erected.
No, my lord. I wished only to serve you.
Then serve me now. Relinquish the ring I have trusted you with. Relinquish it now, or I will have it cut from your finger.
Haman frantically pulls the ring from his finger and, shaking, places it in the king's open palm.
I swear on my life, I only acted to serve you. I wish for nothing else.
Perhaps if your assassins were still alive, they would tell a different story.
No, my king. I had no knowledge of their intentions. I swear my undying loyalty to you.
For your loyalty, I give you permission to return to your home, to inform your wife that your life is over and she no longer has a home.
If you cannot spare me, please spare my wife any hardship.
Everything you own now passes to Esther. If your wife wishes to remain as a servant, that will be the queen's choice. Now leave this hall. 2 guards await outside to escort you to your home. You will remain there until the lot is drawn for your final breath on this land.
Haman struggles to his feet.
This is a nightmare. It cannot be real.
A nightmare of your own making. Go now, or I will command the guards to place your head on this banquet table.
Haman slumps out of the hall. Xerxes moves back to his table. He looks towards Mordecai and motions Mordecai to claim a seat.
My queen, perhaps now you may make your request. I am certain I know what it may entail, but it is important that it be put to words so that my new second can document it.
Esther looks to Mordecai. Mordecai sits up proudly.
With honor, my king.
As my home is within these walls and I want of no physical possessions, I wish that the property of Haman pass to Mordecai for his service to my king.
As it is your wish, then it is so. Are there no other petitions?
I beg of you to avert all the evil that Haman had planned against the Jews.
Xerxes extends his golden scepter to Esther, and she rose and stood before the king.
If it pleases you, and if I have found favor, let an order be sent rescinding the letters that Haman wrote and sent to destroy the Jews in your kingdom. How can I look on the ruin of my people? How can I be safe if my ancestral nation is destroyed? This decree must be stopped. The loyalty of the Jewish people to their king must be protected.
Whatever is written at the king's command and sealed with my ring cannot be contravened. The previous decree against the Jewish people cannot be nullified. As king, I will allow you and Mordecai to write another decree as you wish and seal it with the ring I have granted to Mordecai. The new decree will allow the Jewish people to preemptively kill those thought to pose a lethal risk. No one will be allowed to raise a hand against them. Order the Jews in every city to observe their laws, to defend themselves, and to act as they wish against their opponents and enemies on a single day, the 13th of the 12th month, which is Adar, throughout all the kingdom of Ahasuerus.
God has remembered his people and vindicated his inheritance. So they will observe these days in the month of Adar, on the 14th and 15th of that month, with an assembly and joy and gladness before God. These days of the lots drawn by Haman should be a memorial as a day of deliverance and kept from generation to generation in every city, family, and country. These days of Purim shall be observed for all time, and the commemoration of them shall never cease among their descendants.
Commemoration that begins now. My queen, shall the feast begin?
Our allotted time is the passing of a shadow, and there is no return from our death because it is sealed up and no one turns back. Come, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that exist and make use of the creation to the full as in youth. Let us take our fill of costly wine and perfumes and let no flower of spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they wither. Let no meadow be free from our revelry. Everywhere, let us leave signs of enjoyment because this is our portion and this our lot. This is certainly a day for feasting and rejoicing. I raise a glass to our great and wise king.
The three raise glasses.
Brilliant.
Sweet Bird of Youth by Tennessee Williams. Scene: the Hotel Menagerie somewhere in Florida, 1958. We see Chance Wayne and the bygone era actress Princess, who is in bed. There's a noise outside.
How'd you know I was here?
George Scudder enters a coolly, nice-looking, businesslike young man who might be the head of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, but is actually a young doctor about 36 or 7.
The assistant manager that checked in today last phoned me this morning that you'd come back to St. Cloud.
So you came right over to welcome me home.
Your lady friend sounds like she's coming out of ether.
Princess, she had a rough night.
You latched onto a princess. Gee.
She's traveling incognito.
Golly, I think she would if she's been checking in hotels with you.
George, you're the only man I know who still says gee, golly, and gosh.
Well, I'm not the sophisticated type, Chance.
That's for sure. I want some coffee?
No, just came for a talk, a quick one.
Okay, start talking.
Why you back to St. Cloud?
I still got a mother and a girl in St. Cloud. How's Heavenly, George?
We'll get around to that later. I got to be in surgery in hospital in 25 minutes.
You operate now, do you?
I'm chief of staff there now.
Man, you got a maid.
Why have you come back?
I heard that my mother was sick.
But you said, how's Heavenly? Not how's my mother, Chance. Your mother died a few weeks ago.
Chance slowly turns his back on the man and crosses to the window. Shadows of birds sweep the blind. He lowers it a little before he turns back to Scudder.
Why wasn't I notified?
You were! A wire was set up 3 days before she died at the last address she had for you, which was General Deliver, Los Angeles. We got no answer from that. And another wire was sent to you after she died, the same day of her death. We got no response from that either. Here's a church record. The church took up a collection for her hospital and funeral expenses. She was buried nicely in your family plot, and the church has also given her a very nice headstone. I'm giving you these details in spite of the fact that I know, and everyone here in town knows, that you had no interest in her, less than people who knew her only slightly, such as myself.
How did she go?
She had a long illness, Chance. You know about that.
Yes, she was sick when I left here the last time.
She was sick at heart as well as sick in the body at that time, Chance, but people were very good to her, especially people who knew her in church, and the Reverend Walker was with her at the end.
Chance sits down on the bed. He puts out his unfinished cigarette and immediately lights another. His voice becomes thin and strained.
She never had any luck.
Luck? Well, that's all over with now. If you want to know anything more about that, you get in touch with Reverend Walker about it. Although I'm afraid he won't likely to show much cordiality to you.
She's gone. Why talk about it?
I hope you haven't forgotten the letter I wrote you after you last left town.
Nope, I got no letter.
I wrote you in care of an address your mother gave me about a very important private matter.
I've been moving a lot.
I didn't even mention names.
What's the letter about?
Sit over here so I don't talk loud about this. Come over here. I can't talk loud about this.
Scudder indicates the chair by the taboret. Chance crosses and rests a foot on the chair.
In this letter, I just told you that a certain girl we had to go through an awful experience, a tragic ordeal because of past contact with you. I told you that I was only giving you this information so that you would know better than to come back to St. Cloud, but you didn't know better.
I told you I didn't get I got no letter. Don't tell me about a letter I didn't get.
I'm telling you what I told you in the letter.
Right, tell me what you told me. Don't talk to me like a club, a chamber or something. What did you tell me? What ordeal? What girl? Heavenly? Heavenly, George?
I see it's not going to be possible to talk quietly about this, so I...
Heavenly? What ordeal?
We will not mention names. Chance, I rushed over here this morning as soon as I heard you were back in St. Cloud before the girl's father and brother could hear that you were back in St. Cloud to stop you getting in touch with this girl and to get out of here. That is absolutely all I have to tell you. It's in this room at this moment. But I hope I said it in a way to impress you with the vital urgency of it, so you will leave.
Jesus, if something's happened to Heavenly, will you please just tell me?
I said no names. We are not alone in this room. Now, when I go downstairs now, I'll talk to Hatcher, assistant manager here. He told you you check in here and tell him you want to check out. So you better get Sleeping Beauty and yourself ready to travel. And I suggest you keep on traveling till you cross the state line.
You're not leaving this room till you explain to me what you've been hinting about my girl in St. Cloud.
There's a lot more to this than what you feel I don't talk about to anyone. Least of all to you, since you've turned into a criminal degenerate. The only right term for you, Chance. But Chance, I think I ought to remind you that once, long ago, the father of this girl wrote out a prescription for you. A sort of medical prescription, which is castration. You better think about that. That would deprive you of all you got to get by on.
I'm used to that, Trit. I'm not leaving St. Cloud without my girl.
You don't have a girl, St. Cloud. Heaven and I are going to get married next month.
He leaves abruptly. Chance, shaken by what he has heard, turns and picks up the phone and kneels on the floor.
Hello, St. Cloud 525. Hello, Nani? Hi, Nani? This is Chance. Yes, Chance. I'm staying at the Royal Palms. And what's the matter? Has something happened to Heavenly? Why can't you talk now?
Happen next. So everybody can come back in now, turn on your mics, and if you can stay, we can just start talking.
Sorry, my video went up for a split second at the end. I hope you can edit that out.
I think I can work with it. I thought maybe it was another character coming on, either Heavenly or somebody, but nope.
Very sorry.
So, Tasman, we go to you, the root of all evil. I was on half right.
The actors were absolutely fabulous. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I know I wrote the piece, but you know, putting that aside, they just gripped me, they pulled me in. There was so much going on, and I had to do quite a bit of editing so that I could just make sure that the detail was there, and it wasn't as if, oh, Frederick was murdered, and oh, we're now just celebrating. And there had to be a reason behind it. And I just wanted to put in as much information as possible, but it had to make sense. And I'm hoping it did make sense. But the actors, oh my God, kudos to you. I mean, for a moment there, I thought I didn't write this, I'm just watching. So, oh my God, it's brilliant. And when Stephen uploads the video, I'll be watching it again and again. But there you go, Lonnie was the murderer.
And it'll also be presented as one full-length piece. Too.
Sorry?
It'll also be presented as one full-length piece.
Sure, with the detail in it to make sure that everything kind of weaves into their past. Yeah, absolutely. With what these women have been through, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Well, I think definitely the actors, you know, helped, but we couldn't have done anything without our writers.
Bravo, bravo.
I'm so tired of watching all the award shows. The actors getting all the you know.
But you know, you
yeah,
you presented it so well, you know, and I'm in awe of you guys. So brilliant.
it's the actors that makes a difference, because I've presented plays. I used to work with a group called Some Assembly Required in Los Angeles, and I remember giving up a play, and it was a cold reading, and I'm listening to them and going, wow, this is a really good play. But you know, it was because of their performance. They really brought the performance and really put out.
It goes both ways. And I think I just wanted to take a moment to thank Tasman. Actually, a year ago, when I first started at LA Play Reading, she was the first person to offer me a role here at a play called Quiet Island, where Chuck Lacey played a llama-loving king. Truly not Quiet Island. As I was transitioning from the pandemic over to Zoom Theater, I was amazed that this place existed and introduced me into Zoom Theater. And it was exciting because there was so much imagination and humor and humanity with Stephen and Rex and Tasman in their plays. So there was so much to enjoy. And because we concluded The Root of All Evil today, I just wanted to say it's been a very moving experience to bring the female characters alive that Tasman draws so beautifully. And because I got to enjoy playing Sophie over a period of months, and before that, Renee in A Stinging Affair. And Tasman involves her characters in, of course, really exciting plot lines and whodunits and very, mysterious, almost film noir type things that you can't stop reading. And I'll tell you why I couldn't stop reading when Tasman knows the story of that. And she takes a deep dive into her heroines. They're often unbearable struggles and monumental hurdles, and life is thrown at them. And she makes sure that these women aren't just survivors, that they live their lives with great courage and passion and love. And to me, the most important of all, hope. And this hope in the face of the greatest of pains and prejudice and injustice and patriarchal punishment in society, which is obviously time immemorial for all women and men too, is what we're dealing with in our society now, and I suppose we will forever. It's a wonderfully intense and genuine journey for both the actor and the audience that I might say it's been a great journey for me. It does require the actor to delve into her or his own life and not be afraid when you do Tasman's plays. And because unless you've been locked in a room your whole life and never interacted with anybody at all and have been shielded from what life can throw at you, there's always something an actor can pull up from within. And Tasman does ask that of her actors and her hair.
You're kind. Oh, thank you for your beautiful work. Thank you so much.
No, I really mean that. And as you whittle away at the role and peeling back the secrets and discovering more and more until the 11th hour before you lock and load the performance, it's an amazing journey to go from darkness to light. And I want to thank you, Tasman, for the opportunity to have played Sophie. I did cry quite a bit in life, and like the story of Sophie and Renee, they give back and stay. So thank you.
I just wanted to say, as far as the playwrights go, that very last playwright we had, Tennessee something or other, I think he's almost as good as our Stephen and Tasman and Rex and our others. He might go someplace too.
He shows talent. He shows some talent.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
It's strange he didn't show up for the group though, but.
Yeah, I know.
You should try and get in contact with him, Stephen.
He ghosted us.
Okay. Yeah. So was there a little bit of Lady Macbeth in there?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, and I echo, Sophie said it so beautifully, but I just also want to say they're both so nice and supportive, and I'm so new and fresh, and I just appreciate their support and really a pleasure to work with. So
You're brilliant. You're brilliant. Thank you.
Good, great.
Well, wonderful job, both of you, and Tasman. Well, I'll tell you later. But Michelle, let's go a little bit of your secret.
Not my secret.
Just a little bit. I really enjoyed that too.
Yes.
Good, good.
Okay.
So, Tasman, will the next one be another long one, or will it be a short one?
No. The Root of All Evil is finished. That is the longest play I have written. It has received a lot more attention. I mean, maybe because I've used so many words, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, yeah, now we've put it to bed. It's all done now. If you've missed it, the wonderful Stephen does upload the scenes online. So please do, when you have a moment, have a look. But that's it. And next month, I'm going to, if you'll still let me back in, I'll try some comedy and try and make people laugh.
Nice. Good.
But thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Steve.
Great. So we go to one wish each. Mr. Rex McGregor.
That was so funny. I
Yes.
love the librarian. I just love it.
So Rex, are you doing a librarian series?
Yeah, this is the second play in a short series called 3 Weird Mornings at the Library.
Great title.
Yeah. Good.
And I almost didn't recognize Leslie.
yeah, I'd like to say, I don't know how old you are, Leslie, but man, you look so perfect as a 16-year-old or something.
She's the chameleon. And she's going to be in my play in Manhattan next month.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. Brilliant. Has Leslie left?
Everybody was great. It was really funny.
Yes.
Loved it.
So
I'm
funny. And
muted.
Jeannie
That's why
was
nobody was hearing my
funny.
comments. I'm muted.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you for all the compliments, but what some of you may or may not know is that I did a version of this as the other librarian once for Rex. So it was really wild to be able to play Elaine one time and then Courtney this time, and really thank you, Rex, for that opportunity to just play.
And can I share what you told me about your formal career?
I said a
Okay.
lot of things. I don't know.
Is anybody here a fan of Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Oh,
Introducing the pizza lady from Sesame Street.
Lovely. Oh.
That was an amazing job.
Great.
But thank you so much for this opportunity. It's so fun, and just to play something completely different with the same piece is, fascinating to just look at the lens, look at the play through a different lens,
So then,
And I, sorry.
how was the other actress playing the part that you played before? What did you think?
Oh, I love Elizabeth. So
Oh, yeah. she's
I
good.
love Elizabeth, and it's fun to get the chance to play with, her and just listen through a different lens too. When you're playing one character and then hearing somebody else say those same words a different way, or, it was it's all like the same piece, but with fresh eyes, fresh ears, fresh everything. It was a lot of fun to do that,
And I love the genie as well.
Yeah.
Love your wardrobe, the gear.
Nice.
Fab. Yeah, the genie coming along, and I was like, oh my God, he's so
He was
funny.
humorous.
Very.
But I'll tell you, Rex, if as another writer, I don't think I would have been so generous with him at the end. I think the librarians should have given him a hard time.
It's not a librarian's lecture.
I already was having a hard time wearing the turban because it was.
You looked great in that turban.
Thank you.
He did, didn't he? He did.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd wear a turban.
Yeah. No, this show, I don't know if you guys are aware. I'm sure Tasmin is aware of that show. It's a British show called Goodness Gracious Me.
Yes.
I felt like it was an episode from there. Just something like that. It gave that kind of vibe. So yeah, very well written. Right?
Yeah, very comical.
What would happen to the genie of the book if the library's in transition to digital?
It's another story.
Now there's another layer.
Genie would be lost in debts because he doesn't know how to function. He's asking for a better loan now. Yeah.
So Rex, what made you decide to have the genie come out of a book and not a lamp?
The challenge for this piece was to write a modern take on a fairy tale.
Okay.
And I'd already written the earlier librarian play with Elaine and Courtney, so I thought I'll use those same characters, but I'll bring a fairy tale aspect. And I thought of Aladdin. So because they're in a library, it has to be coming out of a book.
Right.
Good call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got anything else, or should we move on?
Thank you so much, actors. That was a delight to watch.
Thank you, Rex. Thank you, Courtney.
And thank you for always participating. We know how busy you are because you're all over the place.
Yeah.
This is my third Zoom today. I've been in Paris, France, and Cambridge, UK.
Oh, wow.
Lovely. So you're pixeled out.
Wow.
Okay, so I guess we move on to, yes, someone? No? Yeah. Esther's Sacrifice. So I really appreciate what everybody put into that. We were having a bit of a problem even starting our rehearsal, but we got through it. We were only able to get through it once, but everybody did a very good job at the performances.
I wanted to apologize to Zev, but she's not here because I cut her off on the directions. I was so anxious to speak.
But it worked. It went okay. Yeah.
No, that was fun begging. I like that.
Yeah, I had my son runs a group for Bucknell University for through the Hillel organization to help students connect with their Jewish culture. So he asked me if I would write him a play for Purim, and he gave me 3 days.
Gee, you did that in 3 days?
3 days.
Jeez.
But generally, these Purim plays are skits. They're usually funny, and a lot of times they make them contemporary. They kind of talk about the story, but in contemporary setting. And me not being Jewish and not knowing a lot about Purim, I started researching it. And the more I researched it, to me, the more serious the subject was, in that I couldn't see writing it as a comedy, particularly for college level students. Generally, these are performed at synagogue, and so there's a lot of little kids, so they try to make it fun. They don't deal with all the other details. But I thought for college students who are supposed to be connecting to their heritage, that it needed to be a serious story. And that's the direction I went with. But when I gave him the play, his boss said, I don't think we have enough time to rehearse this and present it. Maybe we can do it next year.
Oh, but you wrote it in 3 days, which is fantastic.
It's
And
amazing.
especially you said you had to do the research.
And my wife's who's Jewish, I kept bringing up things that I was And she's saying, no, that's not true. That's not right. I'm going, it says it right here.
Yeah.
She said, you got to get it from other sources. I said, that's 3 sources that say the same thing. And then she started reading, and she has like a tour group that she studies with, and they brought it up, and she said, oh, I guess you're right.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Oh, how funny.
no, I love the details in it, and the history of it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, the details, the history behind it, and all that you've actually put together, and the research that you've done is clearly shown.
Yes.
And I think your actors were great. Your actors were very
They were.
good. They were great. They were great to watch always. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's a great piece.
And I appreciated Amanda going out and getting her costume. That was kind of neat. And,
Yeah, she looked so nice.
and Chuck in his tunic.
Yeah, and she also gave us the backdrop. She also
Yeah.
gave us the backdrop, so we all had the same backdrop. It was nice.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, the play had a very elegant look, really kind of a minimalist but elegant look, so you could really concentrate on the story. And one small detail that I really liked was that she sort of stumbled after having fasted for 3 days, and he reaches out to help her. It just said so much about their relationship. So in such a short play where you couldn't, like, with lines go into that, it just like showed who they were as people. And I just felt so, oh, he loved me.
I was going to mention, I love how the king just kind of melts a little right away and realizes, oh my God, okay, this is my wife after all.
Right. One of my many, but my favorite. Okay. Can we move to Sweet Bird of Youth?
Yay! Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Richard. Yay!
So why did you choose this piece?
One of the first, when I took acting in college at Pasadena City College, this was one of the first things I did, and I just really loved his flow of dialogue, Tennessee Williams, and this piece stuck with me as a really short, real good piece to work with.
Yeah, you did great.
How'd you like doing it, Richard?
I really enjoyed the whole thing. I want to thank you, Vic, because I haven't really been acting for a while, and it's really I appreciate all of it. I enjoyed every one of you guys. I really thank you very much. It was
You were
fun.
both so believable as characters, so different,
Yes.
but so believable.
Yeah.
Vic, he was really great. I enjoyed it all.
I
love that genie, the genie guy. If I ever find a bottle and rub it, I hope he's the one who comes out.
When did you go to PCC?
You still have to be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
When did you go to PCC, Victor?
This was like the 2000s, I believe, 2017.
I guess I'm just very, very old.
They called it.
I was there back till about graduated about 1978, 79.
Oh wow.
Yeah, old. I know, yeah. Way back.
Did they have
very, very old
plays back then? Were you involved in any plays there in 78?
Yeah. Yes. We did them out of the Little Theater.
Wow, yes.
That's back when that's about the time me and Vic met.
Oh.
Rick's actually a junior. I went to junior high with him.
Oh.
And
we were like little kids together.
And it was great.
I'm familiar with the name, with the title, but I'm not certain if I've read the play or seen the movie. But if Paul Newman was in it, I'm sure I did see it. Yeah, I'll have to go back and try and find it. It was interesting. I really liked it. It was kind of like this kind of slow delivery, and it was like constantly, well, what do you hear? Why are you talking? And then you like hit him with it and then just take off. You know,
Yeah.
it's like all that building that up to that, and then just leave after giving him the information. Yeah.
Good,
Yeah. And for any other actors here, if you want to bring in a play, is someone else? If you want to bring in a play something that you've always wanted to perform in, you can do something like this.
Yes.
Yeah. Say, Tasman,
Yes.
how long do you think your piece was?
It was, do you know what? It was 7 pages on paper.
It was how
7
many?
pages.
How many?
7.
It was 7 pages?
7 pages. When I emailed it to the actors, 7 pages. It was.
Wow.
It didn't even go beyond 8. And I thought, I'm going to cut it down because obviously the original is very long.
Was it just tiny fonts?
7 pages. Okay, 7 pages. I emailed it to the actors and I thought 7 would be fine. I'll multiply it by 2. Okay, within 15 minutes it will be done. It proved to be longer than that. So there you go. That's life. I obviously didn't realize that it would be much longer than, well, 14 minutes, which it was.
Wow.
So how wide it's.
It was my
How
chance
wide-
to be a star.
It was your, of course it was. Of course it was. Susan.
How wide are your dialogue columns?
Yeah.
Because if you're writing a play, write to, like a full paragraph sheet
There
to
was
sheet.
a lot of dialogue there. Yeah, sure. So
That's
it should have
why
been
the
times
film.
3.
That's
really.
why film scripts keep a narrow a column on the dialogue, because you realize how long the piece is when you're writing it in a narrow column. The wide one, you don't realize you've got like 5 pages in a quarter of the page. So,
Yeah. So even though I looked at it and I thought, oh, it's 7 pages, I've got great actors on board, because obviously in the beginning I didn't, when I normally, when I upload the script, the casting is on there and I'm looking for bids. And then I thought, well, obviously this time I'm not going to tell anyone because they'll read it and they'll be like, oh, well, they're the murderer. I don't have to turn up on the day and watch it. So those who are interested, certainly I'm hoping, was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, it was a one-off, Stephen. So thank you for accommodating that. And that's it.
All
That's
right.
the rest for the root of all evil.
John Christopher,
yes, sir.
you mentioned something about you may have people in Burbank who want to do this live.
Well, as I say, I'm in Sherman Oaks, right near Van Nuys and Ventura Boulevard's intersection. And, I have a community room here, even though we're a small place, and we can easily accommodate a couple dozen people if they just want to get together and have a table read type of thing. If you want to have something a little more theatrical, I have to keep up to date with who's still residents there, but the Burbank Senior Artist Colony has a theater space inside their building and a club room. And, they do have residents that are veterans of theater and the arts and so on. And so we just have to get some resident there to sponsor, and you could get into either my location or there for free if you wanted to get together. And of course, if you're in the Santa Monica area, New Playwrights Foundation meets every other Thursday, and they will read and critique scripts. We've had things like Carnival go through us. We produce movies through us, and all of my scripts get read there. And when you hear people read the script, that gives you more feedback than the comments you get, because you realize how different it sounds than you thought it would be.
Right.
And so,
No.
and we do have a computer monitor here, or a TV monitor in our room, so you could do, part Zoom if you need to, and plug a computer into that.
Mr. Christopher, if you could post something on the LA Play Reading with information to get in touch with you, would definitely like to check that out.
Yeah, I did post on the Facebook page today and put my email address on there, so people can inquire. And, but I've offered this to several groups and no one's taking me up on it yet. I guess everyone likes to go and pay for rental fees somewhere.
I
But,
would love to. Geographically, it's not possible.
So John, I went and looked on our group page. I didn't see any posts from you. And I usually get an alert when someone's posted on LA Play Reading. But there is a post on there now from Henry Graham. He's posted a memory of us doing this in Culver City. And Marcia French responded to that saying she's interested in starting it up again. So I would say put your post or your message directly on that post. So all those people who were connected with Culver City will see it. And maybe you'll get somebody to respond to you.
I will do that. I think I posted on your page just an hour before going on with your meeting today. So I saw it posted on the page, but that may not have gotten to you yet.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just the way things are sometimes. Just like Hampton's Industry Roundtable meets every Thursday, and they have their email groups, but when they send an email through there, it often gets delayed for 24 hours before I receive it. So it all varies, but and I used to, well, I've been involved with New Playwrights for 30 years, and they've been doing that for quite some time, but these things vary a lot. So many groups have closed down.
Right.
Alameda Writers Group used to have these things all the time where you could read things in progress. And it'd be good to see these things start up again.
Sure. Yeah. So Richard, are you coming back next time?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna check it out. I like
Great.
that.
Great.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
I see our genies disappeared. But Richard, you raised up a comment that gave me an interesting idea for a story. What if you have this character that's dissolute and hitting the bottle and doesn't realize one of those bottles has a genie in it and he just swallows the genie? I'm drunk with the genie in him and he's trying to get him out.
He bloats up. Yeah, that's.
All right, so I guess our next one will be in April. Let's see when the fourth Sunday is. Come on.
Stephen, how do the writers find the cast? Do you have a pool of actors involved in this?
All the writer has to do is post the title on our group page and the roles that they need cast and whether or not they need a narrator or director. And then all the actors in the group will see the post and volunteer for a part. And then it's up to you to, figure out how they get the script. You can either upload it or you can send it to them individually. Mm-hmm. And all that we ask is you keep it to 10 minutes or less. And it's suggested that your roles should be no more than 5 roles. Now, you can do a piece that has 100 characters in it if you want, but you'll probably never be able to get that many actors to fill those parts. So I'm just suggesting, because we've got a core of maybe between 12 and 20 people who usually show up. So it's often difficult to cast if you go over those 5 characters, unless you're willing to double up some of those roles, which is possible if they're not on the same, they're not talking at the same time and they have 1 or 2 lines, you can double up the actors, but that's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to, if I may, just do a quick self-promo for Goretti and I. We're doing plays with Sky Pilot Theater if you're in the LA area. Next Friday at 8, next Sunday at 5, at Studio Stage 520 Northwestern Ave. We had a good first weekend. It's just Sky Pilot's group of 1 acts. We're in Series A. I'm in the 2nd show. She's in the 3rd show called Trick or Treat. Does a great job. Last Saturday at Tech, I didn't even recognize her. And then she went and put it on Facebook. I said, wait a minute, I'm in that show. I realized I didn't see her there. Did a quick hi before the show, Thursday night, opening night.
Great.
It's new playwrights. The Sky Pilot Theater has them submit. Their committee picks several one acts. The theme is laughter is the best medicine. So it's all comedies. And then they have the audience vote, and the winning playwright gets $50. The bad news is the tickets are $25. I know, it's like, okay, can I get a discount? If you can make it a fun show, and she's great.
Our next fourth Sunday is going to be the 23rd of April.
Okay.
Yep. Great.
Sounds great.
So, you know, actors and writers, you can start posting your stuff. Actors can start volunteering.
It's going to be so difficult because I have to come up with something else now.
I'm certain that I am certain that you have things already written that you haven't presented.
Yes.
I think you're right.
You said that you wrote a play every day of the year.
Yeah.
I wrote 365 plays last year. Yes, I did.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
I know, but you know, I just wanted to, you know, we've with this group from, I don't know how long I've been with this group, but Stephen, you know, it's such a great network. You have raised the bar where, you know, in the beginning I would have said, oh, I'll just select that one and I'll just upload it. Now I have to think about it because it's, you know, we're at that point now where we cannot, or in my opinion, I cannot just go with something that I wrote the other day.
I'm sure it will still be great.
Remember, we are also a testing ground for writers.
Yes.
Test out
I know, but the big test is with me. Will I actually press the button and upload it? I probably think it's not good enough. So let's see how it goes. I'm sure I will find something. If not, I'll just grab something from one of my full-length ones. So as we've been through this saga already for the last few months, as I say, I've put it to rest now. I'll try and be funny.
So I've got a couple of things to throw out there for the group. Just think about it. I may put it in the new Facebook chat. If anyone would be interested in doing one full-length play instead a series of short plays. Another thing is, would anybody be interested in we give the writers one theme and we see what they come in with?
They're
So
both good ideas.
So think about it. We'll maybe discuss it next conversation we have. Also, the thing I want to bring up, and unfortunately a lot of people have left. If you have, as an actor, committed to a piece and something comes up and you realize you can't do it, please contact the writer and let them know so that there's a possibility they can recast. It's just, let them know if something comes up, because we all understand things come up that changes our schedule. So
yeah, life happens. It could be on the same day. So all it takes is just a message.
Sure.
And you know, I'm not directing this at anyone here. It's just a general point. If anybody is watching the recording as well, to make them aware, just reach out, you know, and just let them know. So sorry, can't do it, and then we can move on, rather than have a no show. And you know, thank goodness it on the day you do volunteer and say, yeah, I've got this one. Let's do it. So thank you.
What some groups have done in the past, Stephen, sorry to be so vocal when it's my first time here, but they will read scripts in progress. And then when they get through the whole script, they give it another read as a complete reading. So you might also look at it that way if you've got some scripts that have largely been done through the group already.
Yeah, we could do that.
I think I'm going to, that's a great suggestion, John, thank you. I think with the root of all evil, I think everybody will have to take a vacation.
I'm still looking for my roots.
But yeah, it's a good idea.
I'm still looking for my llama.
You're supposed to be in South America looking for the
But
llama.
at least we now all have a community.
Yes.
Yes.
And what a vibrantly creative, dynamic, absolutely fantastic community we are. And I love it. And I will put in the time. And obviously it's quite late for me right now, coming up to 1 a.m. But hey, I get to spend it with great people.
The global community.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Globally
Yes,
diverse
absolutely.
and creative community. And thank you, Stephen. As always, thank you.
Yes,
for the
thank you, Stephen.
Thank you for the
And thank you for
platform.
the piece. Thank you for having me in your piece.
You know,
Thanks.
uploading it as well. We think many groups don't do that.
Now, Stephen, you're in New York City?
Connecticut.
Connecticut, okay. Because We Make Movies has stuff they do online, but their New York division is doing their play readings in person once a month. So
I submitted something to them and they accepted it, but then it got kind of confusing as to whether or not they were paying for it or they were expecting me to put in some production cost. And they never clarified it.
Yeah, see, I'm not familiar with the New York division so much. Everything out here is free. And they print up the scripts and they cast for you and all that other stuff. But I used to participate with the Playwrights Kitchen Ensemble that Dan Lauria was running over here at the Coronet Theater. And they were doing readings every Monday. And, I got to work with Charlie Durning and things like that. But I know Dan Lauria was in New York involved with another group that was starting readings last April. But I haven't heard anything from that. He's not in charge of the selecting the plays this time, but he was, I think, going to be involved as one of the readers. So I just talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have information like that, you know, post it on LA Play Reading, and if it's something, out here for me, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, and they do their things on Zoom, except for once a month. So if you want to do something from your place to the We Make Movies here, you can do it by Zoom, and it'll be on. They do it on Wednesdays, and it'll be like twice a month that they do the writers' workshops, and that will be free. But yeah, I guess there is a thing where now they've got a tiered membership. So you might have to pay to be a member for having your scripts read, but as participating as an actor, there's no cost.
Right.
So I think the tiers are like $100 a year and $200 a year, or free. Which ones you want to be in?
Yes,
New Playwrights Foundation is $25 a year.
Yeah.
So, but you
Very
have to be
talented,
here.
very talented people there too.
Yeah, some, but and they used to do it on live every week, so they had to have sponsors to pay for the theater rental. But things keep changing all the time.
Well, anything on Zoom is most welcome, especially given my situation. Yeah, on Zoom, meet the people always interesting, and see how it goes.
Yeah, and where are you based, Tasman?
I'm near London.
Okay, so then We Make Movies has a UK branch, and they do theirs on the first Sunday of the month. And so they do WeMakeMovies.org. Pardon? No, that's Zoom.
It's on Zoom, and it's first
That's
Sunday.
Zoom,
of
and they
each
have a New
month.
Zealand branch that does one a month as well, which is Saturday, but we get it Friday here in LA.
Given the time difference.
Yeah.
So would you be kind enough to post that information as well on the LA PR page?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Otherwise, the website is WeMakeMovies.org. If you can put .com or .net, you'll wind up with a documentary narrated by Robert Redford. So they had to put theirs under
Oh, I do
.org.
like Robert Redford.
I thought for sure you were going to say something else, some other kind of movie.
I read scripts for Robert Redford's company, so
We make movies.org.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I think as far as the UK branch, I don't think you actually have to be a paid member to submit scripts to them.
Sure, thank you.
Leslie, have you sent me days and times that are going to be good for you starting in April?
I will send that to you if you haven't already gotten that.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I don't think I
Okay.
did.
I can
And
do
did
that
you-
today.
Did you get the 2 scripts I sent you?
Mhm.
Did you do anything for Sunday?
What?
For the women's festival?
Oh,
Courtney's been busy with her books.
we'll go offline and talk off the
Okay,
grid.
all right, okay. Okay. Oh, and Paul? Paul, look,
Yes.
it's now up to 14 pages.
Oh, really? Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So I'll be
Is it new
sending.
script?
Yeah, it's a project Paul is working on.
Lovely.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great, Stephen.
Yeah. All right. Oh, and I found another book written by his daughter.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
So
I
I'm going
wasn't
to
aware of that book. Ah,
some other interesting information may come out of that.
we're so mysterious about
Yes, yes.
But that's good. Now everybody wants to
that. I'm
know.
working up a
Yes.
one-man show, threatening to do for years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, a one-man show by Paul Euler. Yes, that's definitely one to watch.
We may be testing it out here.
Yeah, yeah, we can do some episodes of
Well,
it.
test away. We look forward to it.
Okay, great.
Cool.
So everyone, thanks you all for coming. And as I always say, as long as there's actors and writers who want to participate, we'll keep it going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Stephen.
Great
See you
job,
next time,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks, Stephen. Good night.
Bye.